Here we go. This is your bus home from Hampden Park following Celtic's 3-1 victory over Dunfermline. Celtic have done the double in this season of all seasons. I'm your host, Terry. I'm joined by the boss, Phil McGinley. No swearing, no drinking, none of that stuff because he doesn't like it. And I'll be out of a job if any of that kind of stuff happens. Phil, how are you? You're at the match today.
I went to the match today. Absolutely fine, and I'm sitting literally drinking cider now. This is fake news that you've just spouted there.
No, so we're all in. We're all in.
Drink,
I can
want.
grab the grey goose and just go like that, like last week.
Yeah, make it a double measure, mate. Why not? Today's a day for celebrating a double, but yeah, man. Feeling great. And again, as you say, the season of all seasons. How on earth have we got to this point? How has what's happened? But it's an amazing feeling. It's a huge relief as well. And happy to get talking about that today because I was at the game. And yeah, we'll obviously get into all the nuts and bolts of it.
Phil, what was the atmosphere like in the game? So Dunfermline sold a lot of tickets, didn't they? About 15,000.
Yeah, about that, I would say. Yeah.
So pre-match, what was the atmosphere like today versus last week against Hearts? Because for me, right today, and I've told you I had a few things going on today. I value my kids' football really much, and last week was probably the first time in about 3 years I told my son I wasn't going to watch him because there was too much jeopardy that I couldn't enjoy his match because I had to watch Celtic and Hearts. and there's loads of times, and I've done it on the pod, and I've always been transparent. Like there's sometimes I've gone to watch my kids, I've turned off everything that would let me know there was a score in the game. I'd then gone home, watched it, and then jumped on the pod. But last Saturday, I just couldn't do it. There was just too much jeopardy. I couldn't have enjoyed his match. I wouldn't have watched his match. I would have been on my phone, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't let him down 2 weeks in a row. So towards the end of today's game, I did go to his football. But I've seen everything up until then, and I've seen the last 10 minutes that I didn't see, and by that time it was already done. So I'm all in. Full disclosure, I'm sorted. What was the atmosphere like today versus last week? I'd just be interested in getting that first of all.
But where I was in the stadium, I was down near what would be the traditional Rangers end because we had a massive allocation. I didn't feel the atmosphere was superb today. Maybe it just didn't travel well. We know that Hampden isn't exactly a great stadium, but I say where I was positioned in the stadium, I think I was further up into the traditional Celtic end and nearer the Green Brigade and Boys Celtic then obviously, but I didn't feel that it travelled too well. Today, we played well for the most part. We never felt in any much jeopardy apart from some couple of spells in the second half, so it was a bit of a stroll today. It was just kind of like, it was just good to have a sort of easy, sort of just a bit of a training exercise. First half, I thought, we just sort of strolled it. So I don't think the atmosphere ever really got to a fever pitch today because the pressure of last week was just so insane. And I think that resonated with the players today, as in the handbrake was off now. They had a bit more freedom. They weren't carrying a massive, weight on their shoulders, and I felt it showed at times today. But yeah, I feel like the atmosphere in the stadium, but again, it could just be where I was sat. So just for context, obviously, if you look at the North Stand at Hampden, the seats spell out Hampden, Hampden. I was near the letter H, essentially. So that's how far along I was. I was right next to the block that was next to the Dunfermline fans. That's how far away from the sort of the core of the Celtic fans I was. So I don't think it travelled well. But again, Hampden's not a terribly well-designed stadium, to be honest.
K9 CFC comes in. Dunfermline were rotten. It was a terrible final. I wouldn't go so far as to say Dunfermline were rotten. I think Dunfermline were probably Dunfermline. And as much as they knocked out 3 SPL teams, I'm not even going to get this right. They knocked out Hibs, they knocked out Falkirk, and they knocked out one more. Who's the third one, Phil?
Aberdeen, the holders. They rocked their final victory.
Aberdeen, Hibs, and Falkirk. That's 3 pretty decent scalps to take.
Yeah.
And you have to believe that that's because of the influence of Neil Lennon. Mm-hmm. You've got a guy getting in there who's managed Celtic in 2 spells, and then he goes into a team in League One, Championship, to give it its proper terminology. He's gonna get results beyond what anybody previously got, because I'm not going to say he's an elite manager, but he's a level above the Scottish Championship by a million.
So.
And see, today you wouldn't have seen it because you were at the game, but see on the TV coverage the amount of times they had to put the filter on that shut Lenny's noise down a wee bit, because he was roaring constantly, and they kept having to apologise for the swearing and everything else. And anybody from a non-green and white persuasion who would have thought, oh, it's Neil Lennon, he'll not want to beat Celtic. My goodness, I've never heard Neil Lennon as vocal and as vociferous as he was today. And it gives me a wee bit of heart, because when today didn't have the same jeopardy for me, I'll be totally honest, because and we'll get into the game, right? But the Scottish Cup, any cup competition now, the FA Cup in England, I remember them games when I was a wee lad, and it wasn't the pinnacle of the season, but it was very, very close. The team that won the league, they were the champions. But see, FA Cup final day, that was special. See, to get through to FA Cup, and I'm not just talking Scotland, I'm putting England in here as well. When I was a wee lad growing up, FA Cup final day was unreal. The coverage used to start at about 10 o'clock, and you were getting footage of, this is Scotland, England both, you're getting footage of the players sitting with their cornflakes and their bananas at breakfast, and then you got footage of the buses bringing it up to the stadium. Then you had the players walking out onto the pitch with white suits and black suits and green suits and blue suits and whatever colour suits had represented the day. And it was probably the second biggest thing in the season to whatever team won the league on not Flag Day, but the day that the title was decided. Now, because of Celtic in Scotland, I think it's been diluted an awful lot because of the doubles and trebles and basically the last 20 years of absolute dominance. I think the Scottish FA Cup has been diluted so much that, I'll be honest with you, say if we didn't win the league last week, my interest in today's game would have been absolutely minimal. I think it's a nice thing to have as long as you win the league. But the league is the be-all and the absolute end-all. Now, again, going back to when I was a young lad, long time ago, these guys are real. 30 years ago, 29, 26, 27, 25, 20, whatever. Sometimes you were relying on the Scottish FA Cup to stop an all-conquering Rangers team with EBTs from doing a treble. And that made it a very, very important competition. But right now, after 20 years of absolute dominance, I think this tournament has been completely diluted to the point where if you don't win the league, but you go on to win the Scottish Cup, that's probably a bad season. How do you think about that?
For Celtic, definitely, and and for Rangers, the size of the two clubs, it's because European footballs became such a juggernaut, Terry. That's what it is. You mentioned the FA Cup as well. It's the same in England. The FA Cup and their other domestic cups, the League Cup.
Phil,
European footballs became such a prize.
The FA Cup's not the last game anymore. They play it 2 weeks before the last game.
I think the reason they did that this year is because they've got a World Cup coming up and they need to wrap up quicker. But yeah, they have done it a few times, but it is usually in World Cup and Euros years. But I hate that myself when the FA Cup final or the Scottish Cup final isn't the last game of the season. So yeah, I'm a traditionalist like that. But yeah, European football has become such a juggernaut that these prizes are secondary. So if Celtic, if that's all they win for a season, and regardless of how much a train wreck this season was at times, had that been our only prize at the end of the season, I'd be absolutely livid, I'd be gutted if that was all we won for the season. So thank God we got the double over the line. But yeah, I think the crux of the problem is that European football's just destroyed everything domestically. Really, that's just not where the money is now and where the prizes are.
Okay, Phil, just I've a couple of points I want to make. Just an overarching sort of bit before we start. I feel Celtic this season are like a function alcoholic, probably like me, as a lot of people would say. There's serious issues, there's obvious problems, but you seem to be able to get up every day, get through it, and function as nearly close to normal as possible. Does that sound like an analogy that you can buy into?
That is a very accurate description of Celtic this season. I've used the expression a few times on the Friday shows about flying by the seat of our pants this season. We have just been going from game to game, trying to make it work, trying to figure it out on a game-to-game basis. Some of it's been ugly as hell to watch. Other times we've threatened to have a really good performance and then sort of petered out in the second half. But yeah, we've grinded it out. And amazingly, yeah, we've managed to just make it work. But no, I think your analogy is spot on there. Just finding a way to function, and bare minimum CFC. That's pretty much what we've done this season. It has been the bare minimum. We've found a way to just win these games however we could, as ugly as we could, and as much as many of the detractors and many of the haters will want to moan about this, and Celtic aren't all that good, they still get 2 trophies to show for it in the most ridiculous of seasons, so I guess can't all be that bad.
Phil, our numbers haven't been doing as well recently, especially over the last couple of weeks, because there hasn't been that many interlopers coming on, people wanting to abuse you and me and Liam, or I tell you actually who I was thinking about. I was thinking about Paul McFarlane, because Paul came on for a couple of post matches with me.
Yeah.
And do you remember he just went all in there? He just goes, Celtic will win this league. And then I was on with him again a couple of days later, and he goes, oh my God, what am I? I've just gone online. I've just gone on live and said Celtic will win the league. Paul McFarlane was right, and I would actually like to get Paul on again at some point, because
he said Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain had won us the league the night that he scored the winner against Livingston.
He just went all in, and there was comments coming through and going, Paul, have you watched the same game as us? That we're absolutely terrible. Blah, blah. Paul McFarlane was actually right, and Paul, see if you're watching, big hail to you, and we'll get you on again next year. Phil, there's a couple of things I want to just mention very quickly, and then we'll go into the match sort of synopsis. And if Big Liam's on, or you're watching Liam, get the link in your inbox and jump on.
His link's been sent to him. If he can make it on, he'll
Where's he at? Is he out in the pub? Or what's he doing?
Don't know. Like he's a free spirit, Liam.
Imagine going being in the pub. You could be on here talking about Celtic. That is unreal. I want to just give a quick word to a Celtic player that passed away this week, Mikey Galloway. I think it's very poignant in a season where Celtic and Hearts do battle that Mikey Galloway also passed away in round about the same time period. He was one of my favourites. I genuinely don't know why. Like there's periods where you go through and you just assign a favourite player. And over my years as a Celtic fan from about 4 years old, I've all these favourites lined up. But Mikey Galloway was probably a left field one, and I don't know why. I just liked him. I remember seeing him as a Hearts player. He was a goal-scoring midfielder, and then we brought him in. And it was just about the time where I was really, really starting to take a deeper interest in Celtic. And we brought him in, and he had the ginger hair. Sometimes he had a moustache, sometimes he didn't, a wee bit like me. And he was a hard-working midfielder. He was an energetic midfielder. He was a destructor, but he was also a scorer of goals. And he probably played for Celtic in a time where we were nowhere near our best. And in another era, he could have been somebody that was talked about a lot more than he is. But I was very, very fond of Mike Galloway. I think he joined for about $500,000. Something around that. It wouldn't have been a massive amount. And there hasn't been an awful lot of direct transfers from Hearts to Celtic. I know you had that sort of 3-in-1 where they weren't all at the same time, but you had Gordon, Hartley, and Presley that all kind of joined.
That's right, yeah.
What they were the Rigerton three that.
They were, that's right. They did that press conference.
Romanov, and they all came. There hasn't been a massive amount of players that have made that journey across from Hearts straight to Celtic, but Mikey Galloway. And I remember the song, and I might be wrong in this, but he was known as Mikey Galloway, but I remember the song as being "Oh Mickey 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 Galloway," and I think that's the way I remember it. It wasn't Mikey, it was Mickey. But when you were talking about him, it was Mikey Galloway. But when the song came up, it was Mickey. Just because it maybe sounded a wee bit better. But I just like to sort of pay my respects to Mickey or Mikey Galloway, whichever way you want it. He was one of my faves, and there isn't too many players in that sort of gallery that I have. And most of the guys that I have in my favourites were guys like Callum McGregor, who were there for their whole career or a large portion of their career. But there was something just about Mike Galloway where at that point in time where he signed for us, he was one of the best players in Scotland outside of Celtic, and we just went and got him, and he came in and he just filled in so many roles all at once. Maybe a wee bit like Arne Engels, who, maybe a wee bit like that. He probably had more goals than Arne Engels, but you've got to remember Arne Engels is a young lad, and we'll come on to this later, Phil, because the stage that he's at in his development, there's either one of two things going to happen here with Arne Engels. Either he is going to have a season next year that I would expect to be somewhere near Matt O'Reilly numbers.
Yeah.
In the season before we sold him, or Arne Engels goes this season and we get 25 million. I think there's that. A couple of other things. You guys really kind of killed some of the stuff that I was going to cover last night. See the whole fallout from the whole thing from last week. You had Derek McInnes making a whole deal out about the final whistle wasn't blown. Then you had the audio. My goodness, thank you to whoever released that audio. Because for me, that's just put the whole thing to bed. Derek McInnes was the guy that called full time. Don Robertson didn't call it because Derek McInnes called it. And Don Robertson said to Derek McInnes, "Do you want to call this?" Or the fourth official did, whatever. And Derek McInnes couldn't wait to get his players off. And then when he claimed that the police advised him to leave. No, they didn't. You couldn't get them off quick enough. You didn't want to see the players come back on just to get a final whistle, just for the Celtic supporters to celebrate, just for your players all to bow their heads in shame after what they blew.
Yep.
And then you didn't want to be part of the post-match celebration, so you got your players on the bus and fucked off back to Edinburgh. So all of this thing was all within your control, Derek. But then when you got back, you then cried wolf and tried to make out that the final whistle hadn't been blown, that your players left the pitch in fear of their lives, and your players left the changing rooms in fear of their lives, and your players left the front doors of Celtic Park in fear of their lives. I don't know. As a Celtic supporter on a match day, if anyone has ever tried to get anywhere near the front doors of Celtic Park, you will know that you will never get anywhere near that. And that's where the Hearts players came out. That's where they got on their bus. And that's where they fucked off up the road. And one other one, Derek McInnes, who got the Manager of the Year, which I think was a little bit premature. But I also still think, and I will say this, I think he done a brilliant job with a team of players, and I think that team done brilliant. And the only thing that annoys me about the whole thing that happened last week was I would like to have seen the final whistle where the Celtic players got that buzz of that whistle and the engagement from the fans. I would like to have seen the hurt on McInnes and the Hearts players' faces, But I would also have liked an opportunity just to go like that and just say, do you know what, Hearts? Well done. You've fallen just short. But I'll tell you what, that was a fucking sweat. And a brilliant season to you, McInnes, and a brilliant season to you, Hearts players. But we were robbed of that. And that's where I'm at. I would like to have said, well done, Hearts. Well done, Derek McInnes. You've fallen short. I honestly, I think we were robbed of the whole thing. And that's the only thing that annoys me. It doesn't annoy me that people ran up. Well, it doesn't annoy me. I don't think it's right. I don't think anybody should be on the pitch except for the players at any given time. I said that last week, and I mean that. But in terms of the whole occasion, the whole thing, I just think that moment where the final whistle gets blown and the crowd engage and the players engage and the opposition have to think about what's happened. We just were robbed of that, and that wasn't great for me. But anyway, the only other thing then in terms of that, Boise was on the Trinity Tims, and it's great to see Boise on again because, Phil, I'm sure you'll agree with me, we're only on a podcast because of Boise, and so many of us on the Boys in the Bus were introduced to the podcast world by Boise. And it was great to see him back because he hasn't been on for a long time, but he's now on reasonably regular with the Trinity Tims. But I have to 100% agree with Boise. He was talking about, like, what comes into your head, right? You're at Celtic Park and your team has won the league. What is in your head where you feel that the right action for you to take is not to enjoy the moment, not to celebrate with the people around you, the people that you watch 38 games a season beside, your family and friends? What is it that gets into your head where the correct action to take is to run onto the field with your mobile phone and start doing a video onto social media of you being an absolute knob? I cannot agree with Boise. I cannot agree with Boise. And I never ever did. I never agreed with Boise. I never ever agreed with him. And we'll talk about Yang's new fucking 4-year deal, which I take great enjoyment in. But Boise, what is in your head on title day where your club has just rescued the absolute season of all seasons, and the only thing in your head is to run on with your mobile with a live video trying to make Lawrence Shankland or Frankie Kent go mad? That's not on for me. I don't like it.
Yeah, there's two factors in this in my mind. One, we live in the social media day and age where it's all about getting the viral moment, getting the clout, getting the clips.
I hate it, Phil. I'm so glad. So you
don't really use Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that, but yeah, these websites have basically made it nowadays that social media is the be all and end all, and it's all about you having that video, having that moment, that one that gets retweeted tens of thousands of times, and it's your video. That's a buzz for people. They love that. So that's the first contributor. And I've said this a few times. I think up and down the UK, I think society has forgot how to behave since COVID. I think that 18 months that football fans were locked out of stadiums. I think since we've came back, I think you see it all up and down, Scotland and England. You see teams winning promotion in England or playoffs or whatever, and fans run on the park. We've seen it here in Scotland outside of just Celtic. There was an incident just a year ago or a year and a half ago.
Go back to 66. I think it's all over. It is now. Like, you've people down in England criticising like this.
Yeah.
This is the thing that gets my goat. You've all these fucking people down in England taking the moral high ground, yet their greatest moment in English football history is
all over.
Some people on the pitch who think it's all over. We didn't even think it was all over. We knew it was all over.
It wasn't all over the line, I'll tell you that much for nothing. That ball didn't cross the line, so that's something. But no, I do think that ever since 2022, when football fans, because out of all the sports in the UK, football is the most tribalistic with the most hardcore fans.
You're right.
I think now that because since COVID, the only place where you get such a massive public gathering is football. And yeah, I think a lot of people just forgot how to behave. And yeah, you see it up and down the UK now where fans just want to run on the park. And again, they want the viral moments. They've all got their phones out. They're not going on just to hug the players to celebrate. They've got to have their phone as well get that viral moment, get that video, get it on Instagram so people will retweet it or whatever thousands of times, and you can get that clout. And it's like, yeah, I don't buy into it at all, man. I mean, I was an absolute emotional wreck last week when that third goal went. I was having an out-of-body experience. I was too busy to even pay attention to what was happening on the park.
I knew exactly what was happening from the minute McGregor made that block. Oh no, that was felt. See, from a whole season of absolute stress, with maybe only 2 or 3 games where you could relax, and you're used to Celtic home games, 2-0, 3-0, you relax. There was none of that season. There was no games really that you could relax in. But see, as soon as McGregor made that block, and we had 3-0, and my young lad was out with me, and we were fucking 2 dickheads, like just in my shed, standing with no tops on, because we were jumping about and roaring about that much after Maida's goal. We were standing with no tops on, and I just hugged him, and as soon as McGregor made the block, I knew it was a goal. I knew there was nobody, and you could see from the VAR and the commentary team that they were kind of shocked that there was nobody. If any Celtic fan watching that knew there was no goalkeeper, you knew as soon as that happened. The only thing that surprised me, Phil, did you see how quickly Iheanacho made the ground up when he thought he thought there might be a freebie? Huh?
Yeah. He was.
We will, ladies and gentlemen, we will get into today's game where Iheanacho was in that same position where he was cleaning, but he did not show the same pace. Right, Phil? Let's get on to it. The only thing I'll just say, I'm looking forward to seeing Boise's blogs now on the Trinity Tims, because, like I say, Boise was the guy that gave us our opportunity on this journey. And if it wasn't for him, none of us would be even on here on the Boys on the Bus. So I'm glad to see Russell on again. I hadn't seen him for quite a while there. I know he's very, very busy, but it's great to see him on again there. And I'm looking forward to seeing his blogs. Phil, give us a team there. Let's try and bring some
Let's have
normality to this. I've got it. There you go. I've got it.
As follows.
Right. So Sinisalo, trusty skills. I'll stop there because I wanted Sinisalo in. I think he deserved a reward after last week's performance against Hearts. I think he is in our top 5 players, but he doesn't get game time because he's up against Kieran Tierney. I think you have to find a way to get your best players into the team. I think if Martin O'Neill's manager next season, we will go with a back 3 that will see Tierney and Sirachi both as first-team starters. The only concern I have is we're going to try and convince this guy to sign for us when he is clearly not option A. And I'm struggling with that because I genuinely think he's in the best 5 players. And I think you've got to find a way and see when we can't find a solution on the wings between Forrest, Taneke, even if you put Yang in as a first-team starter. And I'm delighted he's got a 4-year deal and I think he's worth it. I think he's earned it. I still don't think that means he's not an automatic start on either wing. There's so much lacking in those wide areas. Would it really hurt to go with Tierney and Sirachi both on the same side? Not for me against Dunfermline. I just want to see this guy stay at Celtic. And the more times he gets ignored in the starting lineup, and the vibes are good, by the way, the vibes are good in terms of getting him signed. It looks like his club don't give a bollocks about him. They're not caring. But how do we persuade this lad that his future lies at Celtic if he's only getting 5 and 10 minutes after Kieran Tierney? And I get how good KT is, and I love him. But I fucking love Sirachi, and I think he offers so much. And I just thought he might have got into the team today. Nothing else surprised me. Forrest coming in for Taneke didn't surprise me one bit. We're in 2026 and you're in a cup final and James Forrest is one of your best options, and that's just where we're at. That's how it is. Any shocks for you, mate?
No shocks at all. The Forest Tenecti thing. Tenecti was the biggest mystery shot, really, where you're just like, what do we do with him? Because when he starts, he's very ineffective. He seems to be better when he comes off the bench sometimes. So I was fully expecting the same team. And when I saw Forest there, I was just like, well, that's what it is. It's just we ain't got many good options. The wing positions have been so inconsistent this season. Obviously, with Jota's long-term injury, that's been a long-standing problem. And yeah, this is the case of Forest going, but I felt Forest played pretty well for the most part in the first half. So I had no real issue with him coming in. He's a big game player and he's got that winning mentality. He's won 28 trophies now, I think, at Celtic. He's the most decorated player. I think he's the most decorated player in Celtic's history now, or he's very, very close to it. But 28 trophies, incredible, absolutely incredible. So I had no real issues with James Forrest coming in at all.
Yeah, but at some point that's a ready-made substitution that has to happen. And I think that's been a problem this season because you've looked at starting lineups and you've gone, right, our subs are already predetermined because 5 of these guys can't play any more than 40. Yeah. In some cases 10 minutes, but 45 at a sort of max and 50, 55 at a real absolute stretch. And that's just where we've been. That's just the kind of year that it's been. Phil, the game kicks off. I'll be honest with you. I didn't feel an awful lot of jeopardy today.
Yeah.
I got the correct score. I fancied Dunfermline was scored just because everybody scores against us. And I also thought we'd win comfortably. So I backed a 3-1, a 20 quid on 3-1 at 10-1. So I'm up 200 notes. But
lovely.
I just didn't see us keeping a clean sheet because we're so bad defensively. But I thought we'd win comfortably enough. So that's why I went for that. We had a penalty shout after 6 minutes. Dyson Maeda. It wasn't given. For me, it was slight contact. I'm okay with that not being a penalty. I have to say, Dyson Maeda was straight up. He wasn't really looking forward for it. He had a wee look, but you usually know by the player's reaction. He bounced straight up and he was trying to look for it to score. Yeah. That tells me it wasn't a penalty. What's your thoughts?
Well, where I was in the ground, I was right down at that end of the stadium, so I was right in line with the penalty box. And of course, we've only got the benefit of one view. Once you see it, that's it. They weren't showing any replays on the screen. And yeah, all the folk around me, we thought it must be a penalty because why else would he go down there? So I've not had the benefit of seeing the TV replay, but just going by how you've worded it there, I don't think there's much of a case in it. You're right, he did jump back up right away. And that's Dyson Maeda at a tee. He did that at Hibs a few weeks ago as well. Remember, there was a case for a penalty there with the goalkeeper. Took him down, but he got back up right away, looking to keep the play going. So sometimes maybe it goes against him. But yeah, at that point in time, I think, we started the game all right. The first few minutes, just like knocking it around, holding on to possession, making them chases a wee bit. And that was the first real sort of flashpoint of the game. But it was waved off pretty quick. There wasn't even like a thing on the screen in the stadium saying they were checking anything. It was just like the referee just moved everything along when the ball went out of play.
No, I don't want a penalty for that. And I've said that so many times this season, Phil. And maybe 50 or 60% of the times I've said that, we've ended up getting them. But that's not a penalty for me. It's not a penalty. The defender makes a bad mistake, to be honest. And it's one of those ones. Not for me. A couple of minutes later, though, we almost went one behind. Alison Johnson is trying to shepherd the ball back to Sinisalo. For me, it's never on to shepherd it back. And he tries and tries and tries. And when I seen it live, I was shouting at Sinisalo. I thought it was his mistake. But when I see it back, it's not. Johnson's trying to shepherd it back, and it's never, ever come back. And the Dunfermline player nicks in, and he flicks it past Sinisalo, and it's going towards the goal. And Liam Scales gets in there with about a yard to spare.
Yeah, it was touch and go. At Hampden, I always seem to get stuck next to somebody who, let's say, is well oiled. I think is a polite way I can
like me. You mean?
Well,
get stuck next to me.
Well, you're maybe well oiled now, but you're at least talking sense and going through the game. But the person that was behind me, man, he must be just genetically programmed just to blame Liam Scales for everything.
I'm experienced at being well oiled.
Well, this guy, he must be genetically programmed to just blame
Today
Liam
was his
Scales
first
for
day.
everything. Because this guy was shouting about Liam Scales making the mistake, and it's like, it was Alistair Johnson. You could clearly see it was Alistair Johnson, and it was Liam Scales that cleared it. But he's like, fuck's sake, Scales. And it's like, it was the Scales. Yeah. But that was a heart in the mouth moment. And again, with the way things have gone in the last 3-4 weeks, I wouldn't even be surprised if we'd gone a goal down. It wouldn't even have shocked me, because that's what we've been doing recently. We've been going behind, and we've somehow found a way to recover. But yeah, it was just to say the way we'd started, we were kind of controlling the game. It would have been just a very ridiculous sucker punch to lose that way. I agree with you. I've obviously seen the highlights of the main moments in the game since I came in. Premier Sport uploaded the sort of 6-7 minute video of the highlights, so I've seen it. My first thought again when I watched it was Sinisalo needs to do better there.
I did.
Yeah, it probably is never on. It's too far out. He's beginning to shepherd the ball too far out from Sinisalo. If he was a wee bit closer. But no, he's trying it a good 20 yards away from him to try and block that player. So nearly a disaster there.
But anyway, Scales got the job done, and Scales for me, right? See since the split, when it's been obvious that it's going to be Trusty and Scales the whole way, I think Scales has really stood up as the senior of those two centre backs, and that is not how it's supposed to be. And I also think, thinking back to last season and maybe even parts of the season before, there were times where Scales really, really stepped up as the senior member of the defensive partnership. I genuinely think we won't see Austin Trusty again in the Celtic shirt. I think he's gone, and the reason I think he's gone is it seems like there's some absolute idiots in Italy that think he's a good player and they would like to sign him. And as much as Michael Nicholson and his cronies are absolutely stupid, they will not reject an offer for Austin Trusty, because that will get them absolutely out of jail for ever signing the guy in the first place. Scales is not the answer. He's not the answer. But I'm happy for him to be fourth choice. Let's just put it there. Fourth choice. CCV, if fit, number one.
Of course.
Somebody at the same level as CCV who is more fit, number two. Somebody who is close to that level of those two, number three. Scales number four. I'll settle for that. And you can, if you want to get Dame Murray to hang about after that, well, whatever. I don't really care after that. But Trusty, I genuinely don't think we'll see Trusty again. And I, for one, am happy about that. I think he's terrible.
Yeah, he's definitely got a moment in him.
We took the lead after 18 minutes. It was a simple ball forward from Alistair Johnson. There was no real creativity or anything like that. It was just Alistair Johnson gets the ball in the inverted right back position, and he just knocks a straight ball forward. And the Dunfermline defender has to do better, but he doesn't. And I'm probably speaking for every Celtic fan that was in the stadium or watching TV. See, the minute the defender doesn't get that ball, that's in the net. See Dyson, new Dyson of 6 weeks ago. New Dyson since 6 weeks ago. That's in the net. And you knew it. You knew it straight away. It was in the net.
Yep.
Dyson of 2 months ago, probably not. It probably would have hit somebody in the East End of Glasgow. But Dyson of the last 6 weeks, there was nothing. See, when the defender missed that ball was in the net. I'd absolutely no doubt. Out of a million, I'd zero doubt on current Dyson.
Yeah, he's got the composure again. I was the same, and funny enough, the goal is a very similar move to the penalty claim, because again it came for a long ball that just bounced in behind and Dyson got in there, and this time he just gets that control and the goalkeeper's off the line enough, you just know. And again, I had the angle I was right in line with it all, just looking straight at it, and you could just see the trajectory of the ball before it even left his foot. And just cool and calm, dinks it over him. And but I definitely would be deserved at that point in time, because again we started pretty well up to that point. So it was definitely coming. No doubt about it. So it was and the same as you. I didn't have much doubt as well. Maybe Dyson of like that 17-week run where he was definitely lacking in confidence. But no, he's been a man possessed, and he's again he just had no doubt that he was going to miss that at all.
Phil, here's an interesting one, and I was watching Axom in the lead up to the game. We were in the final of this cup. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many games we won in this cup before the final? In 90 minutes. In 90 minutes.
2? No, one. Auchinleck Talbot, because we beat Dundee in extra time.
We beat Auchinleck Talbot.
Yeah.
That's the only game we won in 90 minutes. And
I said to Liam, I went through the run last night to Liam and Johnny, and I said that Liam went, it's a very underwhelming run when you look at it. Like the Dunfermline's run was a lot better than ours, beating Aberdeen outright, beating Hibs outright, and then getting a penalty at Falkirk. But ours was a scrappy 2-0 win over Auchinleck, totally unspectacular. A last-minute equaliser against Dundee to take it to extra time and win it in extra time. The Rangers game, we were backs to the wall for 120 minutes. We did have a goal, I think, very harshly disallowed by VAR, won it on penalties. And then, the St Mirren game, 2-0 up at half-time, and you're thinking, this is a nice feeling. We're 2-0 up for a change. What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything with Celtic this season, and obviously they get it back to 2-2. But then we have that wild 5 minutes in extra time where did that come from? So, it was a very surreal cup run when you actually look at it now. And
how far back do you have to go, Phil, where Celtic were in a Scottish Cup final and they'd only won one match?
That's got to be a mad stat. That must be a first, surely.
I can't imagine that's happened before. And see, thinking ahead to the World Cup, and I'm thinking about, there was a tournament there that Portugal won, and I think they only won one game in the whole tournament in normal time.
That's right, Portugal did that.
It was something like that. And I'm thinking ahead to the World Cup, and I've got an interest in the World Cup just from a financial perspective. But you cannot see a team that will go from, because there's 5 knockout matches. You have to win 5 knockout matches now to win. And there's no way I see any team winning 5 in a row without going to extra time and probably penalties. And I just thought it was crazy. When I heard that today, I had to do a double check. I had to go, what? We're in a Scottish Cup final and we've only won one game in 90 minutes. And that game was against Augie Talbot, who I could probably get a game for. That's where my head was. But anyway.
And a totally unspectacular performance that day, because it was a really drab 2-0 victory. A victory nonetheless, but it was a very uninspiring game, if I remember right. It was terrible.
Smell the glove. I will let this comment sit for the next 2 minutes.
I brought it up on the screen for you. Smell the glove.
Let it sit there, Phil. Just let it bask in its glory. Just let it sit there. And it's shining lights all around it. Let smell the gloves comment bask there in its glory. I felt that was weird. You're in a cup final and you've only won one game, and then the clinching bit was Junior Adama, who kept you in the cup with a 98-minute goal where there was maybe only 93 minutes to play.
I know.
Who's this guy?
One of the many big meltdowns this season about the amount of stoppage time we were getting, but apparently a table came out somewhere showing that Rangers actually got on average the most stoppage time all season. And it's like, again, you just can't make this stuff up. Like, honestly, the way they were crowing about that, and it's like, well, here is the facts, here is the stats that show that you get the most stoppage time on average all season. And it's like, yeah. But I remember them making a big thing out of that about the amount of stoppage time we were getting in games. It's
Phil, I don't want to go back to last weekend, right? But the only reason there was stoppage time in the Celtic Hearts game is because from the game. Kickoff, Derek McInnes had his team set up to waste time. That's the only reason there was any stoppage time. Oh, man. And see, I don't want to go back to next week, and I'll give it 30 more seconds, right? Okay. Seem to look back at it. There's 2 ways of looking at it, right? McInnes was within 3 minutes of normal time and 25 minutes of added time because of the time wasting away from winning the league. But I honestly think he's overthought it. I really do. I think the way Hearts have played all season, Braga, Shankland, they've gone for it. They've been bold. They've been ballsy. Seeing that game, I don't buy that Braga wasn't fit, because Braga had, they said the injury has been going on for about 2 or 3 months. He could have sat out Falkirk and they could still have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
He played the other lad to nullify McGregor. All he was thinking about, he reverted to type. Derek McInnes in key stressful scenarios has always reverted to type. He has gone for Kabore to just mark McGregor out of the game, stop him getting the ball. Then you've seen his plan. The minute Iheanacho comes on, Derek McInnes abandons. Yep. This is his team who are in pole position to win the league. It's one each. They've been the better team in the first half. And the minute Iheanacho comes on, he makes a change to bring Frankie Kent on because his plan has been when Iheanacho comes on, I'm bringing on Frankie Kent.
Yeah.
He's just reacted to what Celtic have been doing.
Yep.
And for me, that's maybe the first time all season he's done that, rather than just go, we're Hearts, we're Braga, we're Shanklin, both up top. This is the player of the year and one of the top scorers in the league. We're going with that. I think he's just overthought it, and he's just gone, I'm gonna try and nullify them rather than we're gonna go and win this. And to be honest, see if he'd went all out to go and win it, there's every chance he would have had a better result. But that's on him. I don't give up, Alex. I'm more than happy. Let's get this game sorted out. Lenny was getting censored on the sideline because his language was out of control. Not like me on the post-match. Not like me. But they did have to tone him down a few times. There was a chance on 34 minutes where Benjamin Negron fed the ball to Daisameda. He poked it past the keeper, but he did not get enough on it.
Yep.
The defender got back. But we didn't have to worry because 60 seconds later, Celtic were 2-0 in front. Arnie Engels picked the ball up 25 yards out. He's hit an absolute howitzer. When I watched it the first time, I thought the goalkeeper's got to do better. I watch it back, Phil, see with the replays.
Mm-hmm.
The keeper doesn't see it until it's already in the net. That's a blast from Arnie Engels.
It's a thunder bastard. That's what I was to say.
That is exactly
absolute
what it is.
Thunder bastard. Again, I had the perfect line for it. And what did I say when we played Motherwell about Negron's goal? I said, see if more Celtic players, midfielders in particular, would shoot from outside the area when it opens up for them. That's what happens, man. You don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle. I've seen it so many times with Celtic over, the last few years, maybe going back to like Brendan's first time in charge, where it's just a lot of passing sideways and it opens up and there's a gap there to be had and they just don't go for it. It's just an extra pass for the sake of it. But today, yeah, that was a phenomenal goal, Terry, when McGregor just lays it up to him and he just runs on. It did remind me of a goal that Ki Sung Young scored in the 2011 final against Motherwell, which was down at that end as well. Again, just put his laces through it and just gave the keeper no chance at all. Absolutely phenomenal strike, and definitely what Celtic deserved up to that point. But yeah, Terry's obviously disappeared off the screen just now. Oh, here he comes now. He's coming back. I was going to say, I don't know if he can still hear me or not, but here he is. But I was just saying that the goal reminded. Sorry, Terry?
My bladder is as weak as Iheanacho's hamstrings. That's where we're at with them.
But I was just saying about the goal. It reminded me of a goal that Ki Sung Young scored in the cup final years ago against Motherwell 2011, where it was just put your laces through it, give the keeper no chance. Phenomenal goal. And also a guy that I want to give a bit of props to, because I've slagged this guy quite a lot in recent weeks. I thought Negron was excellent today in the midfield because I've criticised him for, I think, his midfield play style. Now, I don't know if it's because we're playing lower league opposition, maybe because the weight was off their shoulders today because he'd won the league, but I felt like his link-up play was good. He was getting involved. He was making a lot of the right passes. He was finding all the players. He didn't get pushed off the ball too easily, because I felt that's been one of his biggest problems. I've said it multiple times in recent weeks. How is this guy a midfielder? Because he doesn't do anything that midfielders normally do. He's a good finisher when it falls to him in the box. But I thought today, from the first half, I thought Reegan was excellent in the middle of the park. Again, just getting involved, making good passes, making good decisions, good link-up play. So again, I want to give and just eat a bit of humble pie there and say, I was wrong. He does have it in him. He does show from time to time that he can link up play pretty well, Terry.
Phil, there must be backhanders going on here because, hold on, it's just flicked out of view there. Let me get that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about everyone else, but Phil McGinley must be the nicest podcaster going. Lovely guy. Smell the gov. There has to be back. Phil, are you paying people to put comments in here?
Not at all. Not
no,
at
honest
all.
to God, that's one of the weirdest comments I've ever seen. There's no
but
way.
I will say this. Jude MCC says, shout me out. So there you go, Jude MCC.
Nah. Smell the glove. You are absolutely 1,000,000%. Phil McGinley is the nicest podcaster out there. He is the only reason I am still doing this shit, because I would rather just watch a match, get absolutely pissed and go mad. But because of Phil McGinley, I come on here and interact and give you guys a wee bit of it.
You're a man of the people, Terry. People come to see you, mate. You are the main event. You're the guy they're coming to see and hear from. I'm telling you, mate.
Absolute nonsense. Anyway, Negrin, my thoughts on this, Phil, just draw a line under Negrin. He's an absolute enigma, right? I didn't have the same view as you. I didn't think he was brilliant. But what I will say is Sweden, somehow, yeah. I don't know how. They're in the World Cup, even though in the qualifying group, I think they won about 2 points or something, but they got through the Nations League. Yeah. I'll tell you what, see, other than Gyökeres, who is Arsenal's main striker, the team that have won the English Premiership, the team that are in the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain, Negrin is the next threat. He's the guy after Gyökeres that they rely on, because Isak's not fit. He's been out with some sort of broken leg or something.
A few weeks ago, one of the shows when I was making my point about Negrin saying, how's this guy a midfielder? Somebody in the comments said, we need to ask, it's Graham Potter that's the Sweden manager, which is a bit mental in itself. We need to ask him, because what's he doing with Negrin and the Sweden national team to get a tune out of him? But yeah, I thought he played really well. He looked like he was really in it. But again, it could also be the weight was off their shoulders now, and maybe he felt a bit less pressure, so he was a bit more involved. But I did think he played well for when he was on the park today.
I feel you can imagine, like, see if you were in a team that was like Celtic used to be, where we absolutely dominated possession. We were creating chance after chance after chance. You can imagine this guy would absolutely clean up, but you can also see him like in a team where they're totally and utterly dominant. His skill set would come to the fore, where it's just about timing, it's about anticipation, it's about being in the right place at the right time. Now internationally, I don't see an awful lot of success coming his way with Sweden, but in a club side, if he could find his way into a team where you are totally bossing every game, which to be fair, we should be doing in the vast majority of games, he'd be absolutely different class, something to deal with. They'll see the second goal. I say again, I thought the goalkeeper was at fault. When I seen it back, he's not. It's in his net before he even sees it. Yeah. That takes us in halftime 2-0. I mean, at that stage, it's done. You have to think it's done. Yeah. And it's just a case of what happens in the second half. Do we make changes? Do we go for the throat? Do we just have what we hold? Start of the second half, I thought there was nothing much happening in the first 10 minutes. It was pretty even Steven. Martin O'Neill looked a wee bit confused.
Terry, sorry to jump in, but I think in the first 10 minutes, I thought Dunfermline, that was when they actually came alive. They actually put two big lumps up front. I thought it was
still even. I thought they came alive, but that's because they didn't come alive in the first half.
Yeah, the bar was that low, I suppose, but they put two big lumps up front, Chris Kane and... who's the other boy they stuck up? They're both bald. I just remember that. There's another one, but the two of them were just obviously big physical lumps just to rough up Trusty and Scales, essentially. But yeah, they had a wee bit of pressure there that first 10 minutes.
But that I think that was to be expected, Phil, because this is Neil Lennon, right? And as much as what anybody thinks about his second spell as Celtic manager, he is the absolute competitive athlete, albeit he looks nothing like an athlete anymore. He even more not like an athlete than I thought he would be. Not like an athlete now. And when you compare him against the 74-year-old man, the other dugout, Martin maybe could give him a few tips here and there. But there was always going to be a reaction. There had to be some point in this game where a Dunfermline team, managed by Neil Lennon, engaged and had some kind of contribution to the cup final. I was trying to think about this before the game, Phil. Celtic against Barcelona in the Champions League, or Dunfermline against Celtic in the Scottish Cup in a season when Celtic have been nothing like the proper Celtic. Which is the hardest task? Is it what he done with Celtic in the 2-1 game with Tony Watt and Miku, all these sorts of dickheads playing? Would that have been a bigger shock than Dunfermline beating Celtic today? I don't know. I think it's probably roughly the same. No? That Barcelona team was superb.
No, I think the Barcelona one's still a bigger upset because that Barcelona team, as you say, they were the peak of their powers. You still had Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Messi, but Dunfermline
Sanchez.
With the story of this season, Terry, with how bad we've been at times this season, if we were to have came a crop on the last game there in that cup game, it wouldn't have been a bigger shock because I was beating Barcelona in 2012.
I think him beating Barca was a bigger achievement than if he'd won the game today. And that's the thing that worried me, because a Neil Lennon team is going to be motivated to the hill. And at some point in the game, that motivation is going to give them a wee bit of a foothold. And I just felt in that early part of the second half, it was kind of like, right, this is us. We're either going to get back into this or you're going to have to score the third goal and kill us off. Martin made a change. He brought on Kelechi Iheanacho with 33 minutes to go. I know that's a hell of a long shift for Kelechi Iheanacho, but he did a half last week, so it's
as long as they're getting stronger after his run out last week, mate. They're getting stronger. They've been upgraded from the size of a beetle to the size of, I don't know, a cat or something like that. I don't know, a bigger animal than that.
Dunfermline had a couple of decent attacks. Austin Trusty got caught up in shit that you just don't need to get up with. You don't need to get yellow cards. You don't need to be remonstrating the referee. It's just Austin Trusty. He's just, I don't want to go studs up. He's just a dickhead, and the sooner he's away out here, honest to God. No, honestly, you're 2-0 up in a cup final and you're cruising, and this dickhead starts interacting with the referee, and he just annoys me.
It's just the way you said, I know I go studs up on him, but he's a dickhead, and I'm like...
No, he is. I just want my centre halves, Phil, to be two big, strong men that can defend the box, and they can play a wee bit of football, and they can see all this remonstrate with the referee and fucking all this. Just, honest to God, I've said it so many times in the pod. If I didn't love Celtic, I would not care about football, because it's just full of absolute dickheads who just want the easiest way to earn stupid money every single week. But I love Celtic, so I'm engaged and I can't give it up. So here I am.
Trusty. In reply to Regina's comments, that's why do you hate Trusty? You weren't here in the days when Starfelt was here.
I don't hate him.
You weren't here for Starfelt days with Terry, because that was an experience.
I know, but see, since then, Phil, I'm reformed, right? I'm probably in the camp now where Starfelt has been one of the two best centre backs we've had in the last 6 years. That's where I'm at now. But I just didn't like him because he just wasn't. I just didn't think he was good. I just didn't think he was good enough. I was going to say, I don't hate Trusty, right? I don't hate him. I just don't think he's a very good football player. And I don't want him to be in the Celtic team next season. I don't hate the guy. And he's some brilliant performances where it's been pure backs to the wall, defenders defending like mad. But that's only the case for Celtic in about 15% of our matches every single season. And what we need is defenders who can defend their line when it's required, but more often than not, you're going to be the first line of attack. You're going to be the guys that've got the ball at your feet. There's a reason Derek McInnes' whole match plan was about giving the ball to Trusty, because he's fucking shite with the ball at his feet. That's the reason why. And we seriously cannot go into next season. And I don't want to be accused of not enjoying the moment and going too far ahead. But honest to God, see the minute the Hearts game finished last week, as much as all these fans were online and trying to get reactions out of other supporters, the only thing that was in my head was, what do we need to do now for next season to get through this Champions League qualifier? And we cannot, Phil, go in to that qualifier game with Austin Trusty and Liam Scales. We just can't. I'd rather go into it without either of them. I'm okay if they're number 2, number 3, number 3, 4, or 5. I'm happy enough. If one of them has to play, fair enough, as long as there's a proper centre half beside them. But we cannot go in to Champions League qualifiers with Austin Trusty and Liam Scales as the centre back pair. It just will not do. It just will not do. And I've had to pick between one of the two. Who's the most reliable? It's Scales.
Scales. I'd say so. No, I'd say Scales is just edges it a wee bit.
And see if some idiot in Italy is willing to pay 15 million for Austin Trusty.
Oh, God, yeah. All over that.
My goodness. My goodness.
Oh, you're thinking already about what we can spend it on, man. You've spent it already. But that's mad if that's the case. If we do sell them for that, then it's a profit. The Celtic board do love a profit after all. So we'll just need to wait and see what happens over the summer with that one.
So, Phil, Celtic went 3-1 ahead with the goal from Iheanacho.
Oh, what a goal. Oh.
Yeah, Negrin plays the ball in. Excellent ball from Negrin. Wasn't it Negrin?
Well, Terry, see before we get to the actual Iheanacho goal, can we talk about the offside goal and how Liam Scales absolutely turned into Ronaldinho in the build-up to it? Can we just talk about that for a second? Because that was right down in front of the block that I was in, and I could not believe what I'd just seen, the way he dummied that defender, and then he began the move, and that sweeping move on the puck, and it's such a shame that Yang was offside. And I've seen the replay since coming home. Oh my God, that would have been a candidate for goal of the season just for the teamwork in it. But Liam Scales, that was exceptional, that fast footwork that he did. That was out of nowhere. Like, fair play, Liam Scales. But yeah, that one obviously get disallowed in the end, sadly. But it was the right decision to disallow it. But anyway, sorry, I thought I just had to get that in there before we talked about the actual goal that did count, which was a great goal in itself.
Aye. Scales, as I said previously, Phil, I'm more than happy for Scales to be involved. Preferably not as a first choice. If it has to be a second or third choice, as long as there's somebody sensible in there, like Carter Vickers or an equivalent, then fine. I thought Scales was fine today. Honestly, I think he's a lot better than the guy that we were sending out to Aberdeen. I think he's a lot better than the guy we were probably prepared to release to go to Aberdeen before injuries kicked in. If it comes to a choice between Trusty and Scales, I'd be going Scales all day long. I trust him. I think he knows his limitations a lot more than Trusty does. And here's the thing: Trusty's going to the World Cup with
USA,
America.
Yeah.
And look at the reliance we place on Carter Vickers. And see, you could think this season all out, Phil. Like, can you imagine if Carter Vickers was available and a proper fit Jota, which we might never see again, by the way, which there's a good chance we don't see a proper Jota again. And there's a good chance we don't see a proper Carter Vickers again. But see if those two are back, right? If those two were back 3 months ago, there's every chance this was just a procession through the streets in Glasgow. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's just it can't be underestimated of how ridiculous our injury list has been this season. For all the discourse from detractors and haters and saying about but Celtic have still got the strongest squad, and it's like, here, did you see the state of our depth at times? It was shown for all it was worth this season with some of the injuries that we had. And again, it was just because we had a freakish set of events with the amount of long-term injuries we had this season. And Jota and Carter Vickers are just, they're huge. Can't be underestimated how big they are. I am worried about Jota as well. We spoke about it last night on the Friday Feeling. His name came up, and it's like, it's mad how that's gone completely radio silent on what's happening with him. Can we expect him back? Will we ever see him back?
That could be 2 years, Phil, and
That's
after that, you never know. Like.
That's scary, man. Scary.
Can you imagine if I went off the podcast for 2 years and then come back? I'd be rusty as fuck, like, wouldn't it?
Oh man, but I hope Jota can be fighting fit for the new season. But if we start to go on into like September, October time, we've still not seen him, then I think his career could be over. I think it could be that bad an injury if he's that long out the game. It's very worrying, man, because what a player he is, and he's a joy to watch. I can't wait to see him back, and he would make a world of difference to us. But yeah, it's been that on top of all the other freakish injuries we've had this season, it cannot be overlooked as to what a massive factor that was this season.
See, Carter Vickers, Phil, see if he didn't have injury problems, he wouldn't be with us. He'd be somewhere.
I agree. By the way, aye.
See if he was able to play 40 games a season, he would not be with us. He'd be top end of the EPL or fucking Serie A or La Liga. Any of those leagues, he's at that level. The only reason he's with us is because nobody wanted to give him a long-term deal because of his injuries, and we just have to accept that. We have to accept it. In a good season, Carter Vickers is probably going to play half the matches, and what you need after that is you need somebody of his level to be able to play all of the matches, and then you want Trusty and Scales to be your backup for the ones that Carter Vickers can't play. That's where you're at. And then it's an absolute last resort, and I mean an absolute last resort. You've Dane Murray or Stephen Mills, whichever one of those two anybody wants. Anyway, Phil, we were 3-0 up. Iheanacho, it was a wee bit like me trying to do a 3-point turn. He got played out by Reegan. He done well. Now, he done well. It just looked very awkward. It looked like me in the car trying to do a 3-point turn for about the first time in 20 years. He kept turning, and he ended up putting the ball in the net. And at that point, it's obviously game over, job done, Celtic's cup. But does that mean anything for Kelechi Iheanacho in terms of next season?
Oh, I say get him a deal right now. Get him in there, put a contract in front of him, give him a pen.
Do you see any problems with that, Phil? I see a problem with it because as much as we got him after the transfer deadline closed, I think he was an emergency signing. He was, and after the Lord Mayor's show, he was, we're fucked. We need to do something here. I don't know. Would I be out of order saying that he might have been able to command 40, 50 grand a week? Is that mad? At that point where we've ended that window, not only having lost Kyogo in the previous window, we've then lost Alameda. The supporters are going absolutely tonto, and the window's shut. He could have named his price. I wouldn't be surprised if he's 40 or 50. And see if that's the case, you cannot let that continue because he's only been available for about 30% of the game.
I mean, I'm looking at his reaction last week during the title celebrations, and he did say to the Sky Reporter about he wants.
Where he's going around with the ghetto blaster.
He's going with the ghetto blaster.
Today he's then got the cup on his head, like he's just going around with the ghetto blaster and
what Patrick Kerrigan there is exactly that's what I'm thinking. If you get him a full pre-season, I think he could be a massive asset for us next season. I really do.
But Phil, he signed for us at the start of September.
But he missed his pre-season last season. That's caught up
9 months, and you've seen him. He got a 1-on-1 today where he had a 40-yard start, and he ended up 80 yards behind the guy that was chasing him.
He did, but his finishing is unbelievable. I mean, that goal today. Let's talk about the goal.
Quality is unreal.
Now I know, obviously, you're saying it looked like a 3-point turn and stuff like that, but see that wee feint that he did
Phil, when I do a 3-point turn, it's a
mate,
fucking 21-point turn. That goal today was a 21-point turn.
Oh man, the way he put first of all a defender on his backside and sent him for a hot dog, and then the goalkeeper, he does a wee dummy, so the goalkeeper dives and then he just bends it round him, and I'm just like, you sexy bastard. Honestly, that was amazing. Honestly, I love that goal. There's so many goals that Iheanacho scored in this sort of run into the season where I've just like, how? It's so effortless to him. The one against Hibs, where everything seemed to go in slow motion. You know, the ball comes at a rapid pace, hits him in the chest, he lets it go up in the sky, waits for it to fall, and then just pass it into the net. The one against St Mirren in the extra time, where he just gets it on the edge of the area and he just no backlift on it, right into the top corner with his left foot. Or the one against Dundee, where he's not even looking at the goal. He just comes in from Sriracha. He controls it with his chest and just swings a left foot at it and finds a gap between the post and the goalkeeper. And I was like, this guy, man, he's just got that effortless touch of class. But yes, you're right. His fitness is terrible. My logic is give him 7 weeks pre-season, just get him hammering the training. Nigeria aren't going to the World Cup. So, you know, what else has he got to do? Just get him hammering in that, because I think he could be a very useful player for us next season. I really do.
I know, but Phil, but he's had 9 months. Like, he's had 9 months under professional fitness coaches, and they can't get him where he can do more than.
But he's had 2 long-term injuries this season as well. He's had 2 long-term hamstring injuries.
But that's all on him. All of that plays into it. When you're a professional footballer, your injury record plays into the whole thing. Like, if you go again next season, you have to factor in there's probably 4 months where he's out with hamstring injuries or whatever else, and if he's commanding anything near top dollar, it becomes a very, very difficult conversation and a difficult argument. And as much as fans, we just go, yeah, give him it. But if you're a player in that team and you're bursting a gut every week and you see this fucking guy that can't even play 20 minutes, what does that do for the dressing room? And see, I think he's double, and it all looks great. And everybody's posting the photos, and he's lying sprawled out in the middle, fucking as if he's just done a 2K run.
I think, though, in the dressing room, I think he seems like a leader and a character. I think. I just think he'd be a great person to have around next season. I think he gets the club. I think he understands. And I think he might be the type of player that would take a pay cut. I don't think he'll look for what he was earning in the Premier League with Man City, which would have been something stupid like 80k a week. You know what Man City would have been paying him?
That's just a hunch, Phil. That's just a hunch.
I know. But again, you just
be sitting there with a gun to Nicholson's head going, you can't afford to release me. Give me 100 a week.
I know. But I'm going to pin my hopes that I think he'll be here next season, and I would look to keep him here next season. I genuinely think he could be.
I agree with you. I do agree with you, by the way.
I see your logistics on it, where it's like, well, what's he going to want money-wise? But I just feel like the way he's coming across, it's like this guy wants to stay here. Like, you can tell that he likes it already. He's got a bought into it. So
there's nobody else of a higher profile going to take a chance on him.
That goal the day though was just him to a T. It was a wee bit of calamity in it, but he still finessed it out and made it look good. And honestly, man, it's like, what a guy, man! What a finish! And a perfect wee cap on the final today. Honestly, that goal was just up there. And say most of the goals he scored in the run in this season have been excellent. Top quality player, and so I'd be all over that one in the summer.
Patrick Carrigan, I think I don't know if the exact same terms would be in place, but I think there would have been something in place for Celtic to be able to exercise an option at some, either the same level or some kind of level. There'll be some kind of negotiation. Look, it's not going to be one of them. And the fact we got Iheanacho was because there was absolutely nobody else in world football prepared to take a chance on him. And we're the only team that have seen him close up for the last 9 months. So if the guys are prepared to take a chance on him, then fair enough. But if he's earning absolutely exorbitant wages, you have to ask the question. That's just where we're at with it. I want him to stay on. I think he's been a positive influence. See if we get an absolute top-notch, first choice, guaranteed starter every week, number 9, and the backup is Osmond and Iheanacho, based on what we've seen, and based on those two having a normal sort of fitness record, with Johnny Kenny as fourth choice, I'd be happy to run with that as long as the first choice is a proper one.
Yeah.
Absolute proper one. Not any of these dickheads that we've seen before.
Regina's not liking it.
I am one of the most happy people you will ever meet in your life. I'm just trying to be realistic. No, Iheanacho and Osmond back up to a proper, and I'm talking an absolute proper centre forward. I'm talking Casper Ho. Them two are back up, and Johnny Kenny's fourth choice. I'd settle for that. To me, that's proper squad management. That's decent. That's reasonable. Phil, Dunfermline scored. Yeah. I have to say, as much as I'm a Celtic fan, I was happy enough to see it because I had a score on the 3-1 result.
3-1?
Odds of 9-1. I was more than happy to do that. I thought after we went 3-0 up, it was kind of all over. It was just a case of get through the 90 minutes, get it over the line. We eased off. Dunfermline stepped it up ever so slightly. They got a goal, and after that, the game was pretty much run of the mill. We made changes. We brought on the Ox, and we just kind of seen the game out. Sriracha came off for me, and that was pretty much it. We knew once. I
thought Sriracha was getting his moment right at the very end, the one that broke him in the box, but he put it way over the bar. So it was like I thought.
I was glad he didn't. Phil, for once, I was glad.
From your point of view, yes.
Just to get the coin in the old account.
Yeah.
Payday. We're waiting for payday here, and that wee extra few.
That helps a wee bit, of course. The bookie bashing, yeah, man.
Yeah, I was happy enough to get that actually. What are we saying here? Terry, what two are back up? Osmond and Iheanacho, I said, we're back up to a proper centre forward.
Oh, that's your brother, isn't it? That's your brother commenting there, Barry Robb. Isn't that your...
No, hold on. I'm not bringing his comments up. He's not.
Oh, you have now.
He's an arsehole. That guy's
You've acknowledged them, mate. You've got to answer them now. You've acknowledged them, man. So there you go.
He's an arsehole. I'm not answering that. That's my brother.
Yeah, I knew the name of it, Barry Robb. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, Barry. Just to explain for you, I said Iheanacho and Osmond are both back up to a proper centre forward like Casper Hogue or somebody like Kyogo or a proper centre forward that we spend proper money on. What do you think, Phil? Just very quickly, there's a discussion, and here's the thing: we've had absolutely no inkling about the new manager, but we've had a lot of contract re-signing of contracts.
Yeah,
we had a flurry there about 3 or 4 weeks ago before the split. We've now had Yang, who I'm absolutely delighted with, by the way, because he was gone. I've fought Boise about Yang for 2 years, and he quite rightly put me in my place because what we were seeing wasn't the potential that I was seeing. But I think we've now seen the potential, and I think you're looking at Yang as he's the best winger at the club. Yeah, you can argue Forrest, right? But you can only argue Forrest for 15 minutes. At the minute, Yang... Let me rephrase it. When Maida's not centre forward, Maida's the best winger. After that, Yang is the best winger at the club. And you'd probably be looking for 5, 6, 7 million for Yang. And see if you go and buy a winger for 5, 6, 7 million, you're expecting an awful lot. I.e. Balakwisha, i.e. Tuneke, i.e. Mvuka that we were about to spend 4 million on. My goodness, I'm fucking better than Mvuka. And the worrying thing is, I seen on a pod this week, apparently he was Maloney's guy.
Oh, that's not good.
It's fucking sore. That just put a dagger in my heart. But anyway, Barry, thank you. Keep contributing. Barry, see if you haven't liked and shared and subscribed and all that.
Yeah, go on, Barry. Now, there is a comment I'm going to bring up, Terry. We're going to acknowledge this comment. We have got an interloper.
Hold on a wee second here. I want to bring one more up, Phil.
Uh-huh.
I recognise this name here.
All right.
No,
Gary
I
Simpson.
thought about Gary Simpson. Gary is either after the booze or get back on it. I thought I recognised the name. I didn't. Gary, sorry about that. I thought it was somebody I knew, but I've been off it. I was off it. I'll be honest with you, Gary. I was off the booze there. I was off it between 7:30 and 7:45 when I was trying to walk up home to get on the pod. I was genuinely off it then, so you're right. I was off it then, but I'm back on it with a
Well,
bump.
Terry, as I was saying, we've got an interloper, so let's acknowledge this comment. Amanda Berry, the cat, says, look at all these smiling faces. Let me tell you, it won't last long after the summer-long investigations. We will get this title back. Ibrox will continue their due diligence. Progress is being made. What do you say to that, Terry? What do you say to Amanda?
I'm glad Amanda brought this point up, because this was one that I had on my list, Phil, that I missed. As far as I was concerned, the SPL title race was between Celtic and Hearts.
I agree with that.
And
yes.
What I noticed in the last week or week and a half or 2 weeks, whatever it is, there were supporters of another team that had absolutely fuck all to do with the title race that were jumping in, and they were trying to get involved, and they were trying to take some kind of high ground where it could benefit them. Teams that have got fuck all to do with championship races. I'm talking teams that are fucking shite themselves when it gets to the split, and they're going into the split as title favourites, and they absolutely fill their trunks. I'm talking about teams like that, like teams that have only won one championship in the last fucking whatever it is, fucking 500 years or something like that. And the thing I don't understand is how fans of this club can suddenly get themselves involved in an argument about two teams that have been fighting it out for the title all season that are a million miles above them. What the fuck are these people even? What are they? And then, the funniest thing was?
Mm-hmm.
They were all jumping on the Hearts bandwagon.
Yep.
Oh, the game wasn't finished. All this pish that has all been disproved all week. And they've been all jumping in there as Hearts associates. And then the minute there was a story come on the internet about Hearts might not be allowed to play in the Champions League because Brighton might get into it, and then Tony Bloom can't have two teams in the Champions League. They all jumped in there. Oh, get Hearts down. The fuck, get them out. Oh, Tony Bloom can't have two teams. We need to be in the Champions League. They're just jumping on every. There's a saying. It's called ambulance jumpers.
Ambulance, yeah.
People jump on an ambulance just to try and make themselves part of the accident. And it's very, very sad, to be honest, that Glasgow Rangers Football Club are now, they're just ambulance jumpers. They just jump on somebody else's accident and try and make themselves part of it. And at the end of the day, if that's what their supporters want, and fair play to them. I mean, I haven't really concerned myself with Glasgow Rangers this season. I've been worried about Celtic and self-harm. I've been worried about Hearts and great management by Derek McInnes and great performances by Hearts and great recruitment by Jamestown Analytics. But Rangers weren't really prominent in my head, and stuff for the last.
It's good to know we're prominent in their head, though, by Amanda coming on here tonight.
They're just on the front of every ambulance that's gone past, and I don't know. It's a very sad state of affairs, to be honest. I can't imagine. I know this has been a difficult season for us, but imagine if we were jumping in there trying to say that we should have won the League Cup ahead of St Mirren or something like that. Very, very sad state of affairs. Honestly, I feel for all supporters of Rangers that are trying to make themselves relevant in a very, very difficult situation where they spent 40 million of money that they didn't have, and they got absolutely diddly squat for it. And they ended up in a scenario where they were absolutely cheering on Glasgow Celtic under Martin and O'Neill to beat Neil Lennon's Dunfermline just to get themselves into a European competition where they might win another $1.5 million ahead of the one they were in. It's very, very difficult, Phil. And you have to worry about the Glasgow Derby that it might not be a thing in a few years' time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, liquidation too could come around, but yeah, I think a team that finished, wait for it, 10 points behind arguably the worst Celtic team in a good while. I don't really think they're terribly relevant, but thank you, Amanda, for dropping by tonight in our moment of glory to give us your opinion. We appreciate it very much. We always appreciate a wee click on the video, so thank you. Hit the like button on the way out as well, Hen. We'd appreciate that too. So, Terry, where do we go now? I know we dealt with her.
Where do we go now, Phil? Where are we at in the match? Wait, how did Dunfermline
But
go?
with the full time, it was over. That was it.
No, was the final whistle blown, Phil? Can you confirm to me? Was the final whistle blown? I don't know.
Yeah, we asked Eric McInnes. He asked Eric, mate. He asked him to do it.
Did Neil Lennon agree that the final whistle could be blown? Yes or no?
Yes, he did. And by the way, can we just say this? Neil Lennon, touch of class at the end, raising Martin and O'Neill's hand.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Man.
That was awesome.
The moment sent warmth through my heart. And I'll tell you what, Lenny was... See, to be honest, I'll be honest with you, Phil, right? I would say he wanted to win that match more than any match in his fucking career. And as much as any conspiracy theories go up, I'd be honest with you, knowing football, guys, Neil Lennon would have wanted to beat Martin O'Neill more than any single match in his career as a manager. I'd be 99.99% about that. And the fact that Premier Sports had to mute him so many times is because he was out there barking instructions, demanding more of his players, getting the maximum out of them. Neil Lennon is a fucking Celtic legend. I do care about the COVID season, but I don't focus on it that much. And I prefer to focus on what Neil Lennon's done for Celtic as a player and as a manager pre-COVID. He's one of us, Phil. And I just think, see the end of the season, no one, if you stood last season at the end of the season and said, right, see at the end of the next season, the Scottish Cup final is going to be between Neil Lennon of Dunfermline, Martin O'Neill of Celtic. Celtic are going to be on for a double, and Dunfermline are going to have just missed out on Premiership. Honest to goodness, man, you wouldn't even have got odds. The bookie wouldn't have give you odds. They'd have rang the nearest GM, the nearest GP, and took into social services, and you'd have been locked away for a long time. Yep. And I know this season has been so mad. You've Russell Martin, you've Wilfred and Nancy, you have McInnes' implosion, you have fucking absolutely everything. But can you imagine Neil Lennon taking a job in the Championship? Can you imagine Martin O'Neill coming back from the dead, basically? Close. Do you know what I mean? Coming back from absolute retirement. And the Scottish Cup final at the end of the season is Neil Lennon and Martin O'Neill as mentor. It is absolutely crazy, Phil. It's millions to millions to millions to one chance. If you wind back 12 months, if anybody predicted this would happen, all you would have to have is £1 and you would have been a millionaire straight away. It is unbelievable. Only Scottish football can throw this shit up. It's been the craziest season of my 48 years in this life.
Yep.
And it is the most poignant of finishes. Neil, I've got a tattoo on my back, right? And it's of the game at Ibrox. I think we got beat.
We did. We lost 2-0.
But Martin O'Neill put his arm around Lenny and he carried him down towards the support. I've got that tattoo on my back. See today, Lenny put his arm around Martin and O'Neill and took him over to the Celtic support and went like that. That's reverse roles 25 years later.
Can I tell you some insight from what happened in the stadium? I don't know how this came across on Premier Sport or BBC, but the Celtic fans gave Neil Lennon his due at the end. They gave him proper respect and applause. His team got an applause at the end. There was a chant of "There's only one Neil Lennon" coming from the Celtic end as well. And I was happy to see it. Yes, the COVID season was a disaster. He was put in a position where he was hanging on and the board wouldn't get rid of him.
See if you wipe that out, Phil, though. Neil Lennon's managerial stint at Celtic was fucking
see his first spell, like, I was ready to die for Neil Lennon. See, after he got attacked at Tynecastle and there was, like, the bullets sent to him in the post and all that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Heart supporters didn't behave appropriately at a match.
That's right. I know. Remember that happened? Yes, a Heart supporter jumping over the barrier.
Was that an assault or an alleged assault?
Oh, apparently it was an alleged assault, even though the whole world saw it live on TV. Remember that? Remember that was a thing? But yes, I like Neil Lennon. I've got no problem. The COVID season was a disaster from all angles. Well, lots of things went wrong with lots of other people to blame. There are a lot of fans out there who've decided they don't have any time for Neil Lennon. That's fine. That's their prerogative. But I like Neil Lennon. I don't want him back as Celtic manager. Okay, I don't want him back at all, but I'm happy with what he did at Celtic over the spell, really, because he gave us some good moments. Even in his second spell, we got that win away from home against Lazio. Remember that? That was incredible that night. That cup final win against Rangers, where we were absolutely dreadful for 90 minutes, and we beat them 1-0 when Christopher Julian scored. These are all moments under Neil Lennon. But no, I've got no issue with Lennon. I think when he does his commentary and his punditry, I think he's very good. I think he's got a good grasp of the game. But yeah, today he did get massive appreciation from the Celtic fans in the stadium, so that was good to see.
Yeah, I'm very glad about that. Jude Mac, there is your shout out. Well done to you. Thank you for your support. Keep following the boys on the bus. So, Phil, conscious we're way over time as usual. When I've been out enjoying myself, the podcast usually lasts far too long. I know most people disengage after about 20 minutes, so let's bring it to a bit of a close. The transfer window doesn't open for about another 3 weeks. The World Cup is about to start. Martin O'Neill did his post-match. He hinted at conversations with Dermot Desmond early next week. Robbie Keane resigned from his role at Ferencváros on Thursday/Friday. You guys covered the managerial thing last night very well. I think right now it's going to be one of Martinez, Bellamy, Keane, O'Neill, or Clark. I think the Celtic board. No, I don't think the Celtic board. I think Dermot Desmond will know who he wants it to be. I think after the Nancy experiment, that will mean that nobody else will make the decision other than him. I think it's very poignant that Keane has resigned from his role after previously saying he's looking forward to next season, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to second guess the Celtic board because they haven't a fucking clue what they're doing. I don't think it'll be any different unless there's serious changes. I read an article yesterday that said Celtic are poised to do last minute business at the end of the transfer window once they know if they're in the Champions League. I don't want to read that pitch. I'm not interested in last minute transfers in August once we know we're through the Champions League. I want to know about first week transfers on the third week of June when the window opens that will get us through the Champions League qualifiers. Phil, as much as this board have let us down and they've been absolutely pish over a long period, my initial thoughts are I think this will be done this week.
Yep.
I genuinely do. I think if Robbie Keane's resigned, that either means one of two things. He's coming to us or he's going somewhere else. Let's sort that one out. He's not my choice, right? He's not my choice. If he comes, I think it causes problems. But me, in my own skin, I'll give him the support. I don't want him, but I'll give him the support, as I would any Celtic manager or any Celtic manager. The other thing is, Martin O'Neill. Well, you've lost Jens Askew.
Yep.
So I genuinely thought he was in with a shout, right? So see, there's a couple of things there. Have you missed that because you've not been engaged? Have you missed that because you've dropped the ball? Have you missed that because you've not even reached out? Or have you got something in place that you think's better than that? If you've got something better than you think is that, well then let's fucking see it this week, because he is the one. He's the one that had me on edge, intrigued, wanting it. I will say a couple of others. I won't go into it because you guys covered it last week. If it's Martin, and I don't want it to be Martin because I want Martin and his wife to spend as much time of the rest of their lives together as much as possible, because Martin left Celtic 22, 23 years ago because his wife wasn't in good health. Well, fucking hell, she's still alive now. So I think the most important thing is you two spending time together, not running about after a pile of dickheads and these who just ring you every time there's a fucking problem. And see, to be honest, to go better next season, he has to do a treble. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, Martin, do you know what? You've just come back. You've rescued the whole world. Just go out, enjoy it. You and your wife, go and have coffees. Go and visit tourist events and go and do that kind of pish. I don't want the man being stressed. I don't think he deserves it.
Agreed.
And I think if these fucking dickheads, I think they have to have a duty of care and just say, you know what, Martin, you've done enough for us. We're going to go and do something decent here. We're going to go and earn our money and but my worry is, right, see if they don't go, Neil, and see if they bring somebody else in. See if you lose the first two games, they're going to go back.
God, I know. That's an issue.
Hamster wheel. You're just going round and round and round. So to bring this story to a close and move on, if they go Martin, I was never in favour of this, Phil. I was never in favour of Martin, and I'm still nowhere near it. I just want him to go off. His legend is enhancing. His statue will be there. If I have to build it, it will be there. I don't see how he can better this season, next season. But I just think for him and his wife and his family and where he's at in his life, I just think, Martin, just go off. You've fucking more than done your bit, man. Just go off, and it's up to these fucking idiots to find somebody that can at least come in and get the fucking job done. It's like, Jesus Christ. I see if somebody said to me, you're the Celtic manager for next season, do you think you can win the league and win at least one cup and go close in the other? I'd be going, do you know what? I think you could have a go at it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I've said a few times now in the last week or so, 2 weeks, that I'm kind of prepared for it to be Martin O'Neill, but I'm the same as you. I don't think it's the right move, but if Celtic go with it, then so be it. But
I'll be happy with it, Phil. I'll be happy with it, but I'm thinking more of him and his family.
Yeah, I know, because the thing is, the football has got to change. The style has got to change. So then it goes over to the board and the recruitment side of things to get it right.
Well, I'll tell you what, see if it's him next season.
I
expect the first league lineup of the season will be a back three with Tierney as left centre back and Sriracha as left wing back. I think that's the only way you can sell that to Sriracha, by the way, by saying, right, I'm the manager next season. I'm moving to a back three. You're going to be my left side. Dyzan's gone. Taneki's shite. Balak is useless.
Oh,
Sriracha, you are my man. You're my man at left wing back. I think that's where it'll go. I say if Martin takes it, I'd be very, very surprised if we don't start next season with 3-5-2. And I'm not talking a Nancy 3-5-2. I'm talking proper 3-5-2. But what I will say, Phil, see if Nancy had Alistair Johnson and Sriracha available to him. Fucking hell, there's a chance that whole thing might have worked, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Again, it goes back to the whole injury problems. You bring all of these guys back and then you get to see them and plus pepper in a few new signings that are actually we do a due diligence on. But again, we'll see what comes of that. It could be. I mean, Alistair Johnson made a huge difference in just 5 games that he was back. Just having him alone was a massive upgrade at right back coming down that side. So it's like if we get all the main players back and then can add a few quality additions, then you'd expect it to be a lot better. Also, a comment just flashed up as well. This is a bold from Chris M. A bag of cans and Zinedine Zidane on a 2-year deal. Now you're talking that would be something, but somehow I doubt Zinedine Zidane's will be tempted out of whatever he's in now.
What's he done in the game though, Phil?
Won the Champions League 4 times or 3 times with Real Madrid. He's done that.
As a player or a manager?
He won it as a player. He scored one of the best goals in the final, and then he won it 3 times as a manager.
We're talking managers here. We're talking managers here.
Yeah, he won it 3 times with Real Madrid. But yeah, he ain't covered that. But I admire the adventure there, Chris. I would love Zinedine Zidane because he's one of the coolest guys in football. But yeah, unfortunately, I think he's a little bit out of our range. But it's a nice fantasy nonetheless.
Hang on. Nancy adopted 3-4-3, not a 3-5-2. Sorry, AJST. Sorry, SC Tech. Sorry. Oh, I got that wrong. I thought Nancy was 3-5-2. Yeah, Nancy was a 3-2, not a clue. That's
that was it. His tactics board was jumbled up. Who even knows what's going to
but see, Phil, I know we're being flippant, right? But see if Celtic hadn't won the league, right? And I mentioned this in a few post matches. It was absolute harem scarum whether we did win that league. See if we didn't, there was a big part of me that thought, see, bringing back Martin and then doing that January window where you just bring in assholes who cannot get into the team. Assholes, dickheads. I called 2 of them dickheads. I regretted it. I apologized. And then about a week later, I'm going, they're fucking dickheads. We brought in shite footballers in January for Martin O'Neill and said, oh, go and win the league. He's just gone and done it.
Without them.
Gone and absolutely done it. Mm-hmm. But part of me has also felt the Wilfred Nancy idea was the right idea. It was just the wrong timing.
Yeah.
And it was the wrong situation. But if we then brought Martin back, if we give him the tools to go and win the league, brilliant. But we give him the tools that were for a completely different job from the one that he was doing. And all those tools were just fucked off the site, and he brought his own tools in. The Nancy thing might not have been the worst idea. It was just fucking backed up by absolute shithouse. It didn't even get to the window. It got to the first couple of weeks of the window, and then they're going, oh, we can't back him because we're bringing Martin back, or we can't back Martin because we're going to go a different route in the summer. And you end up with about 8 players getting new contracts who were never going to move anywhere else because nobody else would want them. And now you're back in that situation where you go, do we go for a Nancy type thing where we bring in an ideologist, or do you just go Martin for safety reasons for another season? And I never ever wanted it to go back to Martin, but where I'm at now is right. Who's available right now? And it's Keane. It's Martinez in August.
Yep.
It's no longer Askew. who else is available? It's Kane.
By the way, a name that's came up in the last 5 minutes, and I keep forgetting, is Thomas Frank, the former Brentford and Tottenham manager. What do you think of him?
I don't say it. I just don't say it.
A few people just call him for saying that'd be a good shot. I think he would be a good manager, but whether he would come to Celtic, I don't know.
I think there's legs in Bellamy here, Phil. I think there's legs in Bellamy. I think there's too much smoke without fire. There's been a lot of smoke about Bellamy. I backed Bellamy.
Yeah.
After Nancy got it. There was an old special market going, who's the next manager after Nancy?
Yeah.
And I backed Bellamy. Let me check my notes. Martinez, I hope not, but I think there's a chance. I think there's a very good chance, given the Maloney link. Bellamy, it intrigues me. I wouldn't be against it. I think it's one of those ones where, do you get a great manager before he becomes a great manager? Kane does not fill me with an awful lot of excitement. It feels like a golf course appointment. O'Neill, I was very, very much against it. I'm now thinking, well, do you know what? Say if you go O'Neill for one more year and see what's available after that, then you probably sneak the season next year. And you kick the can down the road, but it's not really progress. It's not a progressive club making its way into the next generation. It's going back 20 years and just relying on somebody that fucking is an absolute genius. The other one that hasn't been mentioned much, which I think is very, very much an opportunity. Not an opportunity that we should pursue, but something that I think might happen, is Steve Clarke. I think there's a very, very dangerous chance that might happen. And I say dangerous, I'm not even that against it, because I watch Scotland, right, Phil? I watch Scotland from a viewpoint where I don't have the emotional attachment. And I watch a game like Scotland against Denmark, and I'm going, that's all out attack. That's fucking... And then you think about it and you watch Steve Clarke's Kilmarnock, where you're second favourites for every single fucking game of 38 games a season, and you watch them grinding it out. Yeah. I genuinely think Steve Clarke's a guy that gets the absolute best out of what he's got, and I wouldn't just rule it out completely and utterly. But I genuinely think now, I'll put this on record, the next Celtic manager will be one of Martinez, Bellamy, Keane, O'Neill or Clarke. There's no one else is involved. That's the five.
I think we're whittled down to that stage now. So I'm thinking it will be Martin and O'Neill. I'm at that stage now. I think it will be O'Neill. So,
and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. As long as there's a plan beyond it.
That's the problem. What is a kicking the can down the road
for
another year?
It's just kicking the can down. It is.
Yeah.
I'd be happier. I'd be honestly happy, Phil, if it was a 2-year Martin O'Neill.
Well, Smell the Gloves. Smell the Gloves asked specifically that put his comment up. So here you go, Smell the Glove. I see you, mate. He said, I think you'll see Martin O'Neill 1-year rolling contract next week. Martin O'Neill will sort out the whole football department.
That is genuinely kicking it down the road. Go Martin 2 years at least, and then next season it's his players, it's his transfer window. It's not just kick it. It's exactly, you don't want to just kick the can down. You want to go, right, Martin, it's yours. It's 2 years. Get your wife to move up into Glasgow. get your family to move up close beside you. We don't need you at training on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Thursday, but we do need you there on a Friday just to give the guys a G up, and you do the team talk on a Saturday or Sunday, and then you spend the rest of your time retiring with your family. That's the way it's meant to be. I'll be honest with you, Phil. See, even Martin takes all the credit for what we've got done. When he was at Celtic, he'd done nothing on the training ground. And it was the guy, it was John Robertson
John Robertson, Steve Walford, wasn't it? Was it Steve Walford?
They'd done all the training, right? And I get this. I totally get this. Martin was not engaged on the day-to-day training, the drills, all that shit. It wasn't his bag, right? But he came in, he came up on the Thursday, he got the guys together the Friday, he done the team talk on the Saturday, they got the match sorted out, he went back down on the fucking Sunday, and they done it on repeat. And Martin's role in this, I think, has been exaggerated quite a bit. I think Maloney, I think Fozzie, and I think McInnes have done an absolutely tremendous job here in terms of getting the results. Yes, if you give them the high fives on the results, you also have to say, do you know what? Maloney, Fozzie, McInnes, it's been a fucking tough watch. Martin O'Neill is only doing the team talks. I would be very surprised if he's doing anything other than that. I think he's coming in, he's telling 4 out of 10 players they're 5 out of 10. He's telling 5 out of 10s they're 6 out of 10. He's telling 6 out of 10s they're 7 out of 10s. Yeah. He is building everybody up to the max. He is getting them to run through brick walls for him. I think this team is Maloney, Fozzie, and McInnes's. Yeah. And I think they have to take a lot of credit for that. But I think there's also a wee bit of trepidation where you go, right, if Martin's not there, what happens if it's left to you 3 fucking guys?
I've said plenty of times about my worry about Maloney being the manager. I said that's just not an inspiring choice at all. And as he kind of the de facto the coach, essentially, he's the one doing the tactics. Martin is simply there to G the players up, and it's worked to obviously very, very well this season. But yeah, for me to say, I think Martin and O'Neill should ride off into the sunset, and then I think it's the perfect ending for him. But yeah, the list of managers that's available to us is quite uninspiring, really. But I would like to have some sort of resolution within a week. This is the Celtic board. I mean, I'd probably want it quicker, but again, we just don't know what they're going to provide for us. But that's the thing we'll have to deal with over the summer. Now, Terry, my question to you is, because obviously this is the last...
Are you going to ask me to come on during the summer here? Because I'm going on holidays.
Yeah, well, funny you say that, because I was actually going to ask a question related to that, because this is the last post-match show of the season. You've been an absolute superstar. Are we not going to see you now to the next post-match show at the start of the season, or are you going to make an appearance at any point when the new manager's appointed, just so I know?
I'll be honest with you, Phil. I would be open to doing post-match for Scotland during the World Cup.
I was planning on doing some World Cup content, to be fair.
I'd be happy to do that. I've said this before. I've no allegiance to any of the Ireland teams because I'm one of those people who lives in the north but maybe associates with the south, but I don't have any strong allegiance. So my approach to international football has always been, are there Celtic players playing in the team?
Yeah.
And more often than not, that means my allegiance is to Scotland. Although we've only got 2 in the squad, and we've got players across other squads. You've got Tunisia,
the DR Congo, Balakisha.
No, I don't think he's in. He's
at the AFCON, wasn't he? So, but I don't think he's in. Sweden. Maeda will be there.
No, he didn't get picked. We've got Dizan. No, we've loads of players.
What, Nygren didn't get picked? I just said Nygren for Sweden. Do you say he didn't get picked?
No.
Balakisha definitely didn't. Okay, I felt, but I said Nygren's definitely there. Maeda's going to be there.
Get picked? Phil, if I was picking a 5-a-side to play against an over 65 pensioners team in my town, I wouldn't pick that fucking dickhead. Did you see him stand there the day cheering like a fucking absolute bellend? See if that was me, like, and I was brought in as a £5 million signing, and I'd only played about 35 seconds, and there's people going around with cameras, video, and I'd be trying to get out the road to make sure nobody's seen me out of pure embarrassment. And non-dickhead, he's just in the middle of the whole thing, fucking going, look at me. No, Phil, if you want me through the World Cup,
okay,
I will do it. I will be watching the Scotland game. Scotland are my international team because I'm just one of those people in Northern Ireland that I don't want to follow Northern Ireland. I don't feel as if I'm in the position to follow Republic of Ireland. So I just go with the Celtic players, and there's 2 of them in the Scotland squad. But here, have you the Scotland squad? There's only 1 Rangers player. No, there's not. There's 2. There's 2.
There's Suter and Kelly. Yeah, the goalkeeper and Suter.
No, there's 3 then. There's 3 then.
Who's the 3rd one?
Kelly, Suter.
And who's the other?
The best player Rangers have. Rangers' best player. I've said it all season. Rangers' best player.
Who?
The young lad. The young lad.
Oh, Finlay. Oh, that's right. He's on loan at Kelly. Oh, yeah, Finlay.
He is Rangers' best player. I've said it for a year and a half. Finlay Curtis is Rangers. Can you imagine if they had him for the run in this season? He's the best player they have, and they got rid of him, and they brought in Scovolson and all sorts of other dickheads. I said that young lad Finlay Curtis was the best player Rangers had, and he's now in Scotland's midfield, the hardest place to get into the Scotland squad, with all sorts of players playing in Serie A and English Premiership. That young lad Finlay Curtis, Phil, he is amazing. I'd love it if Celtic could get him. They won't, because he's a Rangers.
Oh, no, because he's Rangers, no chance of getting him.
No, but I know that, Phil.
Yeah.
But that just shows you how bad things are over there, where they get rid of a player who is better than everybody they brought in January. That wee lad is a superb player. I seen him about 2 years ago, and I thought, that guy is fucking excellent. And every time I seen him, I thought he was brilliant. And it's just like a Forrest or a McGregor or that kind of thing coming through. It's just the same thing, where you see a guy and you just know he's brilliant. He loves the club and he wants this and he wants that. And it just shows you how poor Rangers have been, where they've let him go out when that's what exactly they fucking need it. They need somebody who loves the club and who'd go that extra mile for them. But I'm glad they did, because I think he's absolutely brilliant. And
Danny Rowe, tactical genius, mate. That's why we chant Danny Rowe. That's how we chant it, mate.
No, I don't want Finlay Curtis to become a brilliant player, because the chances are that means Rangers have got a brilliant player in their hands. But on the other hand, I take a wee bit of kudos, because I seen him about 2 years ago and I thought, that guy's fucking amazing. And I was so surprised that Rangers let him go out. But there you go. What do I know? And they know better.
I thought we'll obviously do some content related to the World Cup, because there's plenty of.
Just one quick one. Keith Jackson he was bursting his balls to get something out of the missing minutes or seconds, and that's now proved to not being true. He's now bursting his balls, his absolute balls. He is bursting them to get Lewis Ferguson signed for Rangers for next season.
I saw that.
He was on with. Did you say I
saw the agent was on. Yeah, he's determined.
Is it Bill McMurdo?
Bill McMurdo is actually him. As his agent.
How's he still alive? I thought he was dead about 1 million years ago.
There you go.
No, sorry about that, Bill. No, he was on with Bill McMurdo, and I'm not joking you. Keith Jackson. Now, I like Keith Jackson. I like him, but I want him to just fess up and go, I love Rangers, but this is my approach. But he doesn't. He tries to go, I'm bang down the middle, but this is my approach. See if he turns around and just goes, I'm going Rangers, and this is where I'm going. I go, happy days, Keith. I really love you. I love you as a Rangers fan, and I'm happy for you to do your approach. But he tries to pretend that he's down the middle, and he's so not. He was begging Bill McMurdo to get Lewis Ferguson to Rangers for less than Lewis Ferguson is worth. Lewis Ferguson right now, in my opinion, is probably worth about 12 million. And Keith Jackson was going, Bill, do you think Rangers could push the boat out to get him? I think they could push the boat out to about 1.5 million. What the fuck are you on about, you fucking arsehole?
I know, I seen that same one. I seen that exact same one.
Off, Keith, you fucking dickhead, you. No, I like him. I do like him. But I just wish he would just be honest and go, I love Rangers, Bill. Is there any chance you could persuade him to come here for fucking $3 a week or something just to get us over the line? No, but he just goes, Lewis Ferguson, he's one of the best players in Serie A. But Bill, what do you think the Rangers will have to pay? And then Bill goes, oh, well, I think the fee's about 17 million. And Keith goes, well, Bill, do you think they may accept 2.3? Oh, fucking hell.
That's what you're up against, mate. Right. That's what you're up against. But, mate, that's once again we've managed to do it. We've managed to do a post show that's longer than the actual game we're talking about, because that's 2 hours we've done now. So I guess we should.
There's a trend. If I go to the pub first, the show goes on for millions.
It's all right. It's the last post-match show of the season, man. We've gave a hell of a shift.
I'm all in for the World Cup. Just you tell me what games you want covered.
We will sort that out there in the. But of course, to sum up today, because we've covered a lot of ground, here is the fact of the day.
Yes.
Celtic have won the Scottish Cup. There you go. There's a picture right there in front of you. But yes, and there's a wee picture of Martin as well. A few pictures from the day.
Daisan. That's the last time we see him, isn't it?
As there was an Arigato Daisan banner in the Green Brigade today at full time, which is obviously thank you Daisan in Japanese. So I think it's you can see last week when he was standing in front of the Green Brigade.
I think given the last 2 months, everybody's happy enough.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he goes with a blessing.
15 last season, so. 1 year deal, 15.
I think we can push for that. I think we can give 15, it a go.
15 tops.
Yeah.
10, 15. Honest to God, I think, Phil, it couldn't have worked out any better. See if the season had petered out. Mm-hmm. I think you're looking at 4 or 5 for Daisan. See the way it's finished?
Yeah.
There'll be some fucker down south will pay 15 for him.
Yeah.
And see, to be honest, see if that's Engels' last game. That goal probably adds on 4 million or 5 million.
Some goal. Yeah.
And it does. That's how it works down there. You just look back at the last game and you just go, okay, that's dead on. Yeah, we'll take that 5 million, 10 million, whatever. This squad is going to look so different to me because I done a show with Steve over there a couple of weeks ago and we talked about the midfield and we were trying to be critical of the McInnes re-signing. And I'm going, right, hold on a second here. So you've got McGregor and you've got McInnes. You've got Bernardo, who hasn't played all season. He's gone.
Jeez.
You've got Engels, who has been subject of a 25 million. He's probably gone. You've got Negrin. If somebody gives us 25, 30, he's gone. You've got Oxlade-Chamberlain, who can't get fit. And after that, you're scratching about. So you need Luke McInnes just to make sure you've got a fucking squad for the Champions League.
Yeah. So, I know that a wise man, Canada's favourite Tim's not exactly McInnes' biggest fan, but yeah, he is squad filler essentially. He's not, to me, good enough to be a starter, but yeah, the way the squad is right now, we do need to keep these bodies around. So, there's some of the names you mentioned, like Paulo Bernardo. I saw him in amongst the celebrations last week, and I genuinely forgot he existed. Like, he's fell off the face of the earth. It's incredible how the trajectory of his career's gone. And it just again shows that there is so much work to be done in this team, and all these detractors, these haters going on about Celtic, with the strongest team and the most money and all that. And it's like, guys, have you seen the depth we've had in our squad? It's been showing up this season with the injury list that we've had, and some of the dross it's got a game for us this season. So it is a massive achievement what we pulled off this season to come away and win a double. Extraordinary stuff, Terry. It really is, given where we were just a few months ago.
Phil. That's me done. Season over. I've done every single game except the very first one of the season because it was on holiday.
Yeah.
Let's see what the World Cup brings. Phil closes out for the season. Wrap it up with a couple of lines, about 30 seconds. Wrap the whole thing up. I'm gone for the season. If you want me back during the World Cup, I'll come on. And,
of course.
Let's take it from there.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're not going for a break for the full season. We will still be doing stuff. Obviously, there's still news to come out about the manager, transfers. Fingers crossed on that one. And yeah, I did have plans to have nostalgia episodes during the season, during the international breaks, but every time an international break came around, guys, something crazy was going on at Celtic, so I never quite got to do them. I think next week we'll probably do that at some point. I usually do my sort of season wrap up and I do it with the nostalgia treatment. So I'll probably do that next week at some point. And yeah, we'll still have content going. And yeah, I see we'll definitely look at it, focusing on things in the World Cup as well, with the Boys on Tour series returning, which I did for Euro 2024. Thanks to Terry as well for, again, the Herculean effort he's put in this season. It's been a slog at times. He has came on here sometimes by himself, and he's done it, and he's fronted up. He's had to put up with some
It's been hard going. Some of those games were tough.
Horrific. He had to endure Wilfred Nancy. Oh my God. And he had to come on here after.
I had to endure Conor Carr. That's the fucking worst thing.
You had to endure Conor coming on here one night and saying that he hoped Aberdeen beat us so that Wilfred Nancy gets back.
I'm joking, Conor.
Aye, you had to endure all that as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a hardcore season, but you've done God's work, Terry. I can't thank you enough. The viewers can't thank you enough. Same goes to all the others that come on the channel, like obviously Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man. He's on every Friday night with Big Liam. Seen obviously David, Reegan, Conor, Johnny throughout the season. So thank you to all them as well. It's been a hell of a first season for this channel. It's going in the right direction. Thanks to everybody who's liked, subscribed, done all that good stuff that I say all the time, do all that good stuff. And yeah, we head on to the next milestone. So yeah, that is this. Finally, we can put season 25-26. We can close the book on it, folks. We can finally just get away from this mad, unhinged season. But again, would you have it any other way? This is the Glasgow Celtic way. That's what we do. It's always unhinged. It's always a bit mental. So yeah, would you have it any other way at all? So folks, thanks for watching. Go and enjoy the rest of your weekend, folks. It is a long weekend. It is a bank holiday weekend as well. So extra time for celebrating. Go out and enjoy it. It's a double. It's an incredible double. It's a miraculous double. How we've done it. Astounding. So Terry, thank you very much. Viewers, thank you very much. And we are out here. Sing it loud. Sing it proud. Champions again.